there's
Okay,
like little
so
food
teaching
stuff,
about
like
the
little snacks and
precautions
stuff,
for
like
anterior
that's
or
what makes it a
posterior
cafe,
hip
but it's
surgery.
like you have
If you
a
had
few
posterior
computers and
hip
then like a lounge
surgery,
area.
then
So I just
we
sit
want to
there
make
doing
sure that
work.
you're not having hip
So
flexion
there's
more
like,
than
you know,
90
you need to go
degrees.
sunny,
So
like
no
you have
bending at the
study
waist
group, or you
all the
have
way
touring,
down,
like, you
or
can't
when you're
leave.
walking, you don't
Because
have
if
these
you're gone
big
for hours, like,
giant
you're not
steps
gonna get
where
that
you're
time on your-
flexing the hip more than 90.
on your plate
And then
yeah,
for
but,
the
like, if you're in and out, like that's
internal
fine.
rotation,
The ladies
so
that
you don't
I mean,
want to be
I've been working
internally
with since I've been
rotating
going
your
to
hip,
school,
which would be like
4
doing that, or if your
I don't care what you do,
leg,
girl, as long
your toes are
as you
turning
are in and
inward,
out,
and
like,
that's
that's fine.
making your leg go
Okay,
in.
I'm gonna go back to
And
lab.
then you don't want to cross the midline like
Yeah.
this, so
Easy
no
money.
adducting, crossing your legs,
I had a
going
question,
past the
so-
midline. If you're in a seated position, you're going to be leaned backwards to prevent being too far forward. And then if we're positioning with pillows, we would put you either in side lying with a pillow between your legs, or if you were laying on your back in supine, we would have a pillow in between your legs still to prevent them from doing internal rotation. For anterior hip precautions, you don't want any hip extension, so you don't want any of that, and you don't want any,
So I feel like anterior
I
would be.
think you wouldn't want any of that. Maybe it wouldn't affect it.
Yeah, so you'll just be up straight, so you wouldn't be leaning back.
Naturally do this.
And then you don't want external rotation, so anything
While
that's like that,
externally
even
rotating,
with
like what
your
are we
leg
doing?
on the
Unless
ground.
we're doing bird dogs,
And then
like, no one's
some
doing that.
physicians also say, even with the anterior hip surgery, not to cross the midline, so no crossing the legs. And with the anterior, you want to be really careful to go slow with your wheelchair, because if you trip and stumble a little, it's really easy to get into that position of external rotation, sometimes even external rotation with extension. So going slow with the wheelchair. And then
So when I researched this on my own,
you
I
want,
didn't know all this.
with the pillows, you would want to be in supine with a pillow underneath your legs, and then a pillow on both sides to prevent the external rotation.
But like I didn't, it was like
Good.